I thought today that I would reach back to 2022's release from the Greetery and make a few tags from the Christmas pudding die set. I'm going to use that, some glitter foam sheets from Spellbinders, and just really a bunch of scraps from my scrap cardstock bin. So without further ado, let's get started. So these are some of the die cuts that I went ahead and made off screen, and it's just Kraft cardstock for the Christmas pudding die. I cut Kraft cardstock for the back, and this is actually Kids Fun Foam in a tan color, and this one is the same thing. I just was doing a little color test with my inks, is why it's a different color, but it started off the same as this one. And then I cut a green and a red bow from the bow die, used a little bit darker cardstock for the holly, some red foil cardstock scraps for the berries, and then this is the, for the icing die, I used the Spellbinders white glitter foam. So what I think we'll start with today is stamping the reverse side. I've done one already. Stamping the to and from sentiment onto the backs, what will be the back side of our tags. And this is just VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So I'm just going to put some ink on the stamp. Move this up here and stamp this to from sentiment. And I will clean that off real quick with my Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean Stamp Cleaner. I love it because they're scented. Okay. Set that aside. And while that is kind of a pigment ink, so while that's drying, I'm going to set those back up here. And let's start with actually doing some ink blending on this little Christmas pudding cake die. And for that, I'm going to use the Vintage Photo Distress Oxide, Scorched Timber Distress Oxide, and Black Soot. These will take a little bit of extra time to dry because I'm ink blending onto Fun Foam. But normally, if you're just using regular cardstock, it, dries as long as distress takes, or you can heat set it. So we're going to start off with a little bit of the Vintage Photo. And I just want it to be lighter at the top than I do have it at the bottom. But I think I'll give it all a coat of this. Get a piece of tape here. Okay, that should be good. Move this so I can clean up that ink. And next I'm going to go in with some Scorched Timber Oxide. Remove some of the excess ink off my brush. And let's go in. And I'm going to keep these darker colors towards the bottom. I could scooch you in a little bit. See that a little bit better? My ink pad is a little bit on the dry side, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Okay, that looks good enough. And then we're going to come in with the Distress Oxide Black Soot and a black brush. I'm going to keep this towards the extreme lower edge because I just want that to just be a little bit of like a shadow. Okay, while we're waiting for this one to get a little more dry, I'm going to go ahead and do the one that I had prepared earlier, and I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to use glue adhesive to adhere the tag fronts to the tag backs. Okay, I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and bring in a weight for that. We'll do this one. Don't need too much adhesive because the foam tends to be slippy slidey all over the cardstock whenever it's got too much glue. Okay, let me wipe my hands real quick. Add this one to the stash. And then we will move on to the icing. And like I said, for the icing part layer, I cut that out of the Spellbinders white glitter foam. And I'm going to just adhere those with glue to the top of the cakes / tags. It's a little precarious to work with because it's foam. I never know where to hold it. Let's go ahead and glue up this side. I try not to intentionally get any glue to where it oozes out the side, but if it does, it dries matte because this is distress collage medium in that bottle. Let's get a little tweezer and line these up. And glue up my fingers. And that looks pretty cute. And now this will actually really take a little bit of time to dry. We'll work along with it, but it's foam on foam with a wet adhesive, so it's going to want to take all the time in the world to dry. But while that is drying, we'll just set those over here, put them under the weight, and we'll start on the bows. For the bows, they're just cut out of scrap red and green cardstock, but I'm going to bring in some Copic markers. For the red one, I'm bringing in R59 and R39, and I'm just going to add a little bit of dimension to them, or depth. It's not going to be a lot of difference, but just I'm going to flick some ink up, or oh, I guess it is ink, up from the center of the bow towards the tops, and then I'm going to mostly concentrate this on this lower edge. It won't be a big noticeable difference, but it's there. Okay. If I can get the lid off. Now for R39, I'm just going to bring this up just a tad. And it's sticking to my finger. Bring that out. Blend these up a little bit. Blend that out just a tad. And do like that. And we're going to do the same thing with the red one, or with the green one. I'm going to start with the darkest color, which is G09, wrong end. I'll bring that up like this. just a little bit. Okay. And next is G03. Just going to blend these out, just like we did with the red one. Okay. Most of that will be covered up, so I'm probably going to be the only person that notices that it was done or not done. We'll move these to the side, and I will clean up that alcohol. Get my handy dandy cloth. And that looks good. All right, let's see what we've got here for the little tags. I'm going to take a risk and try to go ahead and punch a, I think it's a 3/16. Yeah, the 3/16 hole with the crocodile. And, oh, wrong one. And I'm going to go about there. Yeah, that worked. I didn't know if the glue would have been too wet. That's not lined up too shabby, is it? And now I got brown on here. We'll hide that later. Get more ink off my fingers. And we will take that little piece out. Okay, let's fix that. And we'll take our bow. And we'll just put some glue on the back side of this. And we'll put that about there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Another snap glue here. Trying to cover up where the glue was wanting to seep through. No. And then we'll put the tweezers to hold that in place. Move him to the side for a moment as I get the glue off my fingers again. And then let's take a stab at the old red one. Make another pair of tweezers. This one should be a little bit more workable since I didn't have wet glue everywhere. It'll all work out. Okay, so let's go on with our hollies. I'm not going to do any shading on the holly, but what I will do is try and pick it up. I'll just put some glue on the back, and we will place it on top of here. Just have to be careful with that one because it is not a happy camper. You can see where the ink is melding with the glue. This is real-time crafting here. I'll put some glue on the back of these little hollies. And put them about like so. And then the die cut out a lot of these little berries. I'm not really sure what the point of that was, but I'm going to take these two, which seems to be a stack, oh, if I can get them off my finger, a stack of 3, and I'm going to place those on here first. And then I'm going to glue the additional berries, or 3 of the additional berries, onto the top of that little red, what I'm going to call the base. Put 3 there, and 3 here. And if you wanted to bring this up another level, you could put gems in place of these little die cuts. But the die cuts are fine. It's just a tag. Okay, there's that one. And then we'll take 3 of these little die cuts for this one. And I put a lot of glue on that one. Got a little glue heavy, but thank goodness, like I said, it'll dry clear. And there's an extra. Okay, and I think once I give these a chance to dry up a bit, then we're going to do the final touches. Okay, these have had a little bit of drying time. What I have pre-prepared are some ribbons, and this is just, I believe it's a 1/8 inch ribbon. Easy for me to say. And I'm going to feed that through the little hole for our tags. Hopefully. Yeah. We'll just go around the ribbon tail. There's one. And I have some white ribbon for another one. Get those tails together. And there's two. Actually, I have three though, because I had another one that I was experimenting with off screen, and now I've got ink and everything all over me. But on this one, I was playing with the rock candy because some of the ink kept seeping through. But let's go ahead and put a string on this one too. I just know in the future when I make these, I've in the past made them with actual cardstock and didn't have any issues. But I think my main problem is that I chose the foam, and nobody's happy about foam. So let's go ahead and put this down here. I'm just going to try the glossy accents because it's such a good glue also. Glues it to my finger. And we'll set this one aside for sure to dry because it's wet. Just leave it set there. And then back to the ones we were working on. I was going to give something a try. I'm going to try putting some of the Lawn Fawn Prisma glitter. Now, I've used this glitter as an accent on cards before. I've not really used it in this capacity, but just to disguise where the ink got onto the glitter foam here. Let's see what happens if I take just what looks to be intentional, but the rest of us know is not intentional. I'm trying to cover up mistakes because the Prisma glitter is very similar to the color scheme of the Spellbinders glitter foam. So I had a thought while I was waiting for those to dry to see if we could actually cover it. Grab a piece of copy paper here and then just sprinkle this on. Worst case scenario is it doesn't help and it makes matters worse. And I'm trying to find a good place to hold it. Get a little paintbrush because now I have glitter all over the cake. Just brush that off real lightly. And once the glossy accents dries, I can go in with a second try and get the rest of the glitter off because it's not sticking to adhesive, it's just sticking to this foam. Actually, that's kind of pretty. Very pretty. I'll have to remember that for the future. Happy accident. Let's funnel this back in here. I don't do well with glitter, so I'm going to throw that piece in the trash. I'd rather throw glitter in the trash than have it all over the place. Okay, so that was this product. It did do a very good job covering up my ink smudge, but that's still very wet. So that's our little card project / tags for today. They turned out really cute. You just have to give them a lot of extra drying time if you're going to be using fun foam or the glitter cardstock because they still, I believe, are wet. I'm just not going to test it. I've already had to make up for enough mistakes. But I want to thank everybody for joining me, and I will include dried pictures of these at the end of the video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I've added a list of all the products I used in the description box below the video for your use, just in case you're interested. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed what you saw, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button and click on the bell if you would like to be notified of future videos. Until next time, happy making!